Hello everyone, I'm Rakhi Rupani, Communications Coordinator for BNI here in the UAE. And today the member whom I have on Directors and Ambassadors Spotlight, which we very fondly call it as our DNA team, is Mohan George. Mohan is one of our most senior director consultants, and he supports not only one but two chapters, BNI Gazelles and BNI Energizers. So let's get talking to him and hear about his journey here in BNI. Hi, Mohan. How are you doing today?
Hello, Rakhi. I'm great. How about you?
Great. Thank you very much. Mohan, it's very good, very good to have you with us today. And I look forward to hearing more about you. But before we get started with all our questions, tell us about the category or tell us about your business, what you represent, and how long. I mean, just tell us about your BNI journey in general.
All right. Talking about my business, I'm into freight and logistics. The company name is Integrated Freight and Logistics. In short, it's known in the market as IFL. This company was established in 2003. I'm one of the here, and we have completed successful 17 years, and we will be completing our 18th year in November, the coming November. So I'm not representing any category in BNI because I'm not a member in any of the chapters right now.
But you were before.
Sorry?
You were before.
I was, yes. I joined in 2009, and it's almost 12 years. I was a member for about 7 years in a chapter, and I became a director consultant on the 3rd year of my membership, which means I am almost 8 years serving as a director consultant. I was part of launching 2 chapters, one with a fellow DC and second one all by myself. And I support the second chapter, which is Gazelles. And I'm also supporting Energizers chapter for the last 1.5 years.
Interesting. So tell me, Mohan, how does it feel not being an active member of BNI? How do you feel about that in supporting 2 chapters?
Yeah, not being a member has its demerits and merits, I would say. Demerits are like BNI is more than anything, it's a business networking forum. So business-wise, if you are not a member, it will definitely affect the referrals, the relationships. You don't get to see the members on a regular basis, which converts as referrals, and the expected business will not come if you are not a member. Fortunately, we are represented in BNI. We have a member, so the referral pipeline is open. So I'm personally, I have a lot of contacts in BNI. Those I could have managed effectively, get more of the referrals if I was also a member. On the other hand, managing 2 chapters and being a member in another chapter will have a toll on you in terms of the time. You have a lot of commitments as a member. You have to do your one-to-ones. You have to, if you are a role holder, you have to fulfill those commitments. If you're a committee member or a visitor host, or for that matter, any other roles, if you're holding, you have to do justice to that. So that takes time. Then you have to attend weekly, you have to attend the weekly meetings. And then again, managing 2 chapters will be a real time-consuming activity. So these are the two sides of it. Business wise, yes, I'm not much affected because, as I earlier said, we have a member. Time wise, I am saving. Uh, so this is all about individuals, and we cannot generalize this.
Yeah, I get that. Do you aspire becoming a member again? I mean, what do you miss the most?
I'm missing my fellow members. I was part of a very large chapter, still they are large. Of course, the bonding is missing now. If you're meeting on a weekly basis in your chapter, you are always in touch with the fellow members. But as a DC, you have limited options. You don't get to see them regularly. Of course, you can meet them, but during this time when we are online, again, it's a drawback in terms of relationship, in terms of business, in terms of learnings also. What I have experienced in BNI is that even if you serve, even if you are a member for 20 years, still you will learn something from every meeting, from the education slot or from your fellow members. It's a continuous learning process. So when you're out of a chapter as a member, that learning is also affected. Many things you will miss. So that's what I find as another drawback on that.
And you
Not being
miss
in
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So going on to the next question, Mohan, for you. You've inspired many chapters, and you've seen them how they've gone through a tough stage. You've had the experience of turning around a chapter so beautifully in the past. I mean, how would you like to, can you share some tips with us on that?
Yeah, certainly. I'm happy to do that. Um, for every chapter, they go through a roller coaster experience. No chapter remains at the same point. The chapter goes up, it comes down in terms of the business they carry out, in terms of the membership, and unexpectedly something happens all the time. The key is to be with your members. Don't hold them or don't make them feel guilty if the chapter is not doing good. So you have to hold their hands, especially the leadership team. If you are with them and if you are inspiring them, if they are giving courage to them that this is just normal and we can bring the chapter back into action by strictly following the quality. I don't believe in the number game. If it doesn't mean that the largest chapter is the best chapter. This is a general statement, not pinpointing to any particular region or any particular chapter. But the quality of the member, if you are consciously focusing on the quality of the members you're inducting and the members you're renewing, the chapter will grow organically. End of the day, you have to ensure that the members are happy. Member happiness is the key. If your members are happy with their chapter, with their fellow members, with the business they get, it's just an organic process. It will come on its own. The key is that when the chapter goes down, don't put too much pressure on them. Right? Stay close to the LT. Give them your advices or your experience. Share your experience as a friend. They will take it, and over a period of time, the chapter will benefit.
Interesting. Thank you very much for that answer. Another very interesting question coming up for you is that how do you manage chapters where your category is similar to the role holders? Anything you'd like to share with us on that?
Oh, certainly. I have, I'm managing two chapters. One chapter, we have our own member. My company is represented in one chapter. So there is no clash of interest. But um, before we had this member in this chapter, there were other members in the same category. So I have seen always in these chapters a member holding my category. But I always believe in not promoting my business in capacity of a director consultant. I always introduce myself as the director consultant who is there to support the chapter. And normally I don't give out my business cards. That's a policy I'm keeping, because it can also bring up clash of interest. I hand over my BNI card if somebody is asking. Then if someone is specific about my company, I tell them. But I also mention to them that my category is taken by this member in your chapter. So I stress on that point. And if I'm getting a referral from a chapter I support, I always ask them, have you spoken to the member? Have you spoken to your member in my category? So that way, I have always been successful in maintaining a healthy relationship. I haven't heard anybody complaining about me on stepping into their area, at least in all these 8 years as DC. There was no complaint or a concern about me, watching for business, pitching. That was always been cautiously avoided.
Interesting. Building relationships is so very important. And I totally agree with you on that. Given that we are in these interesting times and everything is going very much online, BNI has come up with a lot of online resources. Also, it has their own traditional resources like Palms Report, BNI Connect, and it's really built over the BNI Business Builder, just to name a few. Any particular tools or resources you are using that you can recommend to the audience out here?
Yes, I am getting my resources from Business Builder. Then I always go through the podcasts, which is very important for me because I don't learn anything from the chapter as a member. So it's very important that I get all this learnings and education from the podcast being circulated. So I do this constantly. And then while attending the leadership forum and the DC meetings, I try to get maximum information, the new procedures from such online meetings, and try to update myself.
Interesting. Mohan, before we end our interview, what tips would you like to have for the members who are considering to become a DC?
Yeah. First of all, you have to ensure that you're not taking this as an ornamental title. So being a DC gives you visibility, but at the same time, you have a lot of responsibility. As a member, you are responsible to yourself. Your accountability primarily is with your actions as a member in the chapter. But when you are managing a chapter or supporting a chapter, I would say, you need to balance everything. A few points we have already covered, like you have to have a proper relationship with, especially with the members who hold your category. And then you should be able to learn things. And other point I want to stress here is that do not take or show your authority as a DC to the members. All these members are successful in their own fields of activity or in their businesses. So just because you are the DC or you're a senior member, I firmly believe that that doesn't make you superior to any other member. So try to be on the same level as a member. At the same time, you share your experience in a friendly manner, especially with the LT. Always be in touch with your leadership team and give them the proper advice in a friendly way, not as an authoritarian, speaking from the higher level. So that can create some kind of friction. But if you tell them, I always share my experience. I'll tell them, okay, this is how the chapter managed when we came across this kind of a situation. So I think that's the key, one of the keys to the success. And you also have to practice the art of delegation. Don't try to do everything on your own. There are so many role holders: LT, membership committee, visitor, lead visitor, host. Make sure that they are all involved and they are performing their duties to their best. That way, your load is less and you are making sure that the members are involved and they're performing and the chapter gets successful. So delegation, the art of delegation is very important if you take up the role of a DC. Otherwise, you cannot manage your time.
And you can certainly not manage 2 chapters.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't consider it as a heavy burden on me, but I am in constant touch with the leadership team. I don't really go to the members because that would be too much, and I don't want to overstep the leadership team. I always make sure that they get the visibility, not as DC. There are risks involved there because you have chosen your leadership team to lead the chapter. By leading the chapter, they should be visible in the chapter. They should have some kind of importance in the chapter. If you jump and go beyond them, so you are not doing a justice to them. Moreover, on the other hand, the LT will also feel that, all right, DC is here to solve all our problems, so let's not do anything. So make them work, give them visibility. So you have to balance these two things.
Great conversation. Amazing tips out there, Mohan. Thank you so much for being here with us. And I wish you all the very best in your success with being a director consultant and with both your chapters you support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Raki. Thank you for